In this section, we are going to apply filters. The screen which you see right now is having categories and the products. All the categories and products are getting fetched by the API endpoints, that is the related tables. But now the main question is, every piece of data is gathered and displayed on the screen. What now we want is that when a category is clicked, we need to filter the product. That means on selection of category, we have to show the respective product. So now let's switch to the database and check whether we have some proper data or not. If not, then we can add few categories and subcategories. So we get the bunch of data. I've opened the workbench. And I'm changing the data here so that we get the subcategory data properly. Now the sidebar is the place where the items, the categories we have, and those are going to be clicked, and on click of those items we have to filter. So here we have the anchor tag on line number 37. This is the place where we have to define the event. So I'm going to write the on click event here, in which we are going to create the function called apply filter. And there will be the sub item passed as a parameter. So that's the filter condition. Now let's define the function. So here I am defining the logic to filter the data. The sub item which is passed from the click event, that is passed in parameter called item here. And this item will have the ID which I'm going to assign to the category ID. And let's try to display and check the data. Alright, so let me add the const keyword. So it's a definition of the function. Let me also open the developer tool and go to the console, and I will click the item and we'll check what is the value. So now here we have the category ID. The respective category ID is getting displayed. Now we'll go to the actions, and that's where we are going to create a method which will apply the filter. So I'm going to say export const apply filter. Now I'm also adding build query, which is going to generate the query dynamically. So this will have the logic which will create the query. So there will be a loop which will rotate through filter, and every field will be part of the query object. And at the end, the separated value is returned. Now we'll just display the query, and we'll see that how the object is created. Now in this apply filter, we are going to dispatch the action, which is the apply filter, in which I'm going to pass the temp filter, that is the ID will be passed there. Now when I click the item, we need to dispatch here. So So at the moment, time being, I'm going to use the get products. So now here we need to dispatch the action. So I'm going to say dispatch, and I'll say actions dot. The apply filter is the method which is getting called. And here we are passing the temp filter. Along with that, we are also passing the product data. So now here also we are going to receive the product data in data. Now from this place, I will dispatch the get products, in which I'm going to pass the data. We need to have the dispatch here. So I'm going to add the dispatch parameter receiving. Alright, I also need to make a minor change here. I'll say data.products because that's the item we have inside the data passed. And let's give a message here so we get the idea. I'll give a message build query, so that will display the query as well. Now I'll just clear the console and click on the item. So the build query says that you have the category ID is equal to 2. The more fields you have, accordingly the query will have key and value properly arranged. Now here we need to add one more function called filter data, in which we are going to actually filter the data. So I'm going to say const filter data. Now there will be two parameters. First is the data and second is the query, which is passed to this function. Now I'm going to take the related variables here. First of all, I'm going to say filtered data is equal to data.filter. So filter is the method which will return the value, the filtered value that is. Now we are going to loop through the item using the filter method. Now inside this, we are going to check every key in the query. Let keys in query. And here we are going to compare the data. So for example, if the query.keys is equal to undefined, then I'm going to return false. Otherwise, if the query keys is not equal to item keys, then also I'm going to return false. Otherwise, there will be true. That data we need to return in filtered data, and that filtered data we are returning at the end. Now let me also go to the products collection, and I need to add the category ID. So I'm going to add the category ID here because I don't have that here, which is getting matched. So I'll say item dot category ID. Alright, now here we need to call the filter data method. So I will have a variable. I'll say let filtered data is equal to, and calling the method filter data, which will have two parameters. So data.products and the query. Now we are going to return this filtered data. Here I'm passing the filtered data. Now you see that we have all the records displayed of products. Now I click on any of the category and you have the selected category data only. So accordingly, if there is any data, then it will display. Now if I click on other categories, then the functionality will not work 100%, but that we are going to fine tune, because right now when the first filter is applied, the product data collection is filtered. We need to have a separate collection which remains as it is, and then we get the filter data to display. That's what we are going to fine tune now. Now we'll go to the reducer where we have the product. Now the action will be filter product. And there will be a condition for that. So I'm going to add the case for filter product. That's it. And let's also add a state filter product. Here I'm going to say filtered products. Now in the action, we are going to dispatch the filtered product. So the action type is filter product here. And that's what we are going to dispatch. So I'll say get filter products. And here also we'll have the get filtered products. Now let's go to the component. I'll switch to the product component. And here we'll have the filtered products. Now instead of products.map, we'll have filtered product.map. So at the moment, all the records are displayed. Now I click on the category, and again the different category we have. So I click on individual category and we get the data. So this section we have seen the individual category related data displaying. In the next section, we are going to make the categories in such a way so that one can select multiple categories and the multiple category data can be displayed.